Somewhere inside your skull, there's still a caveman, and he is burning through your money every single day without you noticing. He's not doing it on purpose. He's just doing what he was built to do. You've been there end of the month, staring at your bank balance with that specific kind of confusion. Not the dramatic, I lost everything panic. The quiet, sneaky kind. The I didn't even do anything this month kind. No vacation, no big purchase. You just lived your normal life, a coffee here, a little late night scrolling there, a few taps on your phone, and somehow your paycheck dissolved like sugar in warm water. You're not irresponsible. You're not failing at budgeting. You're not somehow uniquely bad at managing money. You're just running 21st century finances on a 200,000-year-old brain. And that brain was never built to protect money it can't see, smell, or hold in its hands. Here's what should make you genuinely uncomfortable. Every major digital platform you interact with every single day was built by teams of neuroscientists, behavioral economists, and psychologists, not to make your life easier, but to make your prehistoric brain forget it's spending money at all. They didn't build a better store. They built a better hunting ground, and you are not the hunter. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, something is going to shift, and once it does, you're going to see your daily spending habits in a way you can't unsee. Picture your distant ancestor for a second. Standing at the mouth of a cave, he's got a pouch of dried berries, some meat, a few tools. That is everything. When those berries run low, he feels it. The pouch gets lighter. He can track it in real time, automatically, without thinking. His brain is hardwired to monitor resources because losing them wasn't an inconvenience, it was death. Now teleport that exact same brain into today. Put it in front of a phone with one-click checkout, 6 active subscriptions, and a credit card that never physically leaves your pocket. The berries are still there. He just can't see them anymore. Every time he taps to pay, nothing disappears. No pouch gets lighter. No physical signal. No sensation of loss. Behavioral economists have a name for this. They call it the pain of paying. It's the natural discomfort humans feel when handing over physical money. And modern digital commerce was engineered from the ground up to eliminate it entirely. When that pain disappears, your natural spending limit goes with it. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. Your brain doesn't get a dopamine hit when you buy something. It gets it when it anticipates buying something. The high peaks during the scroll, during the add to cart, during the just browsing phase that ends with you owning 3 things you didn't know existed an hour ago. By the time you hit place order, the chemical party is already winding down. The brain already celebrated. What you're left with is the item and eventually the statement. This is why impulse spending doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like relief, like scratching an itch you didn't consciously create. And here's the part that turns this from uncomfortable to kind of infuriating. The platforms know exactly when you're most vulnerable. They know you scroll more when you're stressed. They know you spend more at night. They know that decision fatigue, the cognitive exhaustion from a full day of choices, drops the rational part of your brain like a stone. And they schedule the push notification for exactly that window, not accidentally, by design. Your caveman self never stood a chance. Now I need to flip something for you, because this is where most people completely get it wrong. The natural response to all of this is, okay, I need more discipline, more willpower, a stricter budget. And that response, ironically, is going to keep costing you money. Willpower is a resource. It depletes. Research in behavioral science has documented for decades that by evening, after a full day of decisions, your brain's capacity for self-control is measurably weaker than it was at 8 in the morning. Fighting your daily spending impulses through raw discipline is like trying to win a marathon by sprinting from the starting line. You'll feel strong for a while, then you won't. The people who consistently save money, the ones who actually pull it off without feeling like they're punishing themselves, are not more disciplined than you. They've built environments where the bad decision is harder to make than the good one. They didn't beat their caveman brain. They outdesigned it. And that matters because your caveman brain doesn't respond to spreadsheets. He doesn't understand APR or compound interest or monthly budget categories, but he absolutely understands friction. He understands effort. He understands this hunt requires more energy than it's worth right now. The reason one-click checkout is financially dangerous is the same reason a snack left out on the counter disappears faster than one tucked in the back of the pantry. Proximity and ease control behavior far more powerfully than intention ever will. When researchers tested what happens when people simply remove saved payment information from their devices, something remarkably consistent emerged. Not because those people stopped wanting things, but because having to get up, find a wallet, and manually type 16 digits gave the rational brain just enough time to catch up with the impulsive brain and ask one quiet question. Do I actually need this? That 4-second pause, that's your spear. Let me give you the number that makes this real. The average American burns through over $300 a month on impulse purchases. That's $3,600 a year, not on rent, not on groceries, not on anything they planned. On things that, if asked the next morning, they likely wouldn't have bought. Over a decade, with even conservative savings returns, that figure crosses $50,000. That is not a math problem. That is not a character flaw. That is a systematic and highly profitable exploitation of biological vulnerabilities that nobody taught you to recognize in the first place. And most of the tools being sold as the solution, the budgeting apps, the tracking platforms, the subscription management software, are themselves digital products running on the same dopamine loop, designed by the same industry. More screen time to undo the damage done by screen time. Here's what actually rewires the pattern, and it's almost irritatingly simple. Your caveman brain responds to one thing above everything else: visibility. Make money visible again. Make spending physically tangible again. Not a spreadsheet, something your primitive brain can actually process. Some people use cash envelopes, physical cash, divided into real categories, sitting in real envelopes. When it's gone, the pouch is empty. The brain tracks it automatically, the way it tracked resources for 200,000 years before someone invented contactless payment. Others use what behavioral economists call commitment devices, intentional friction placed exactly where the impulsive brain fires, removing saved payment information from devices, moving shopping apps off the home screen, setting a 24-hour rule where any non-essential purchase above a certain amount has to survive one night of sleep before it gets approved. Not as punishment, as a biological reset, a gap between the wanting and the buying that gives your rational brain a seat at the table. And then there's the third piece, the one almost nobody mentions. Your impulse spending isn't really about the product. It's about the state you were in when the notification arrived. Boredom, low-grade stress, the specific need for a small win after a hard day. When you identify that state and build even one alternative routine for it, a walk, a phone call, anything with a beginning and an end, you close the loop that the industry has been quietly profiting from. Your ancestor survived for hundreds of thousands of years by reading his environment accurately. He could feel scarcity. He could track resources. He knew when something cost more than it was worth. That's all still in there. You haven't lost those instincts. They've just been rooted around by a world that was engineered to make you forget you're spending anything at all. Reclaim the physical signal. Build friction where friction was removed. And the next time you feel that low-level pull, that, ooh, I kind of want that buzz, recognize it for what it actually is. Not a preference, not a need. A 300,000-year-old foraging reflex that someone built a billion-dollar industry on top of. The second you see the trap clearly, you're already harder to catch. And now you're probably wondering, if this is how they engineered your daily spending habits, what else in your financial life was designed around the same blueprint? That question is worth sitting with.